Time to bring you the news on this channel. I am Umudu Gajaga and thanks for joining us. Coming up, veteran educationist Mrs. Harriet Ndao, commonly known to many as Miss Ndao, dies on Tuesday. Driver of former Army Chief of Defense Staff Colonel Ndur Cham testifies at the TRRC. And in sports, Gambia's women's Scorpions are held at home by Guinea-Bissau. For more on this and other stories, stay tuned. Babu Jangha, driver of former Army Chief of Defense Staff Colonel Ndur Cham, who was accused of plotting to overthrow the APRC government in 2006, Tuesday testified at the ongoing Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission proceedings. His testimony related to his arrest, detention and torture in the aftermath of the foiled 2006 coup. QTV's Ansumana Eso-Nyasi is covering the TRRC proceedings and he now reports.
Lance Corporal Babu Jangha of the Gambia Armed Forces on Tuesday testified before commissioners of the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission. His testimony related to his arrest, detention and subsequent victimization in April 2006 for allegedly concealing information about a March 2006 abortive coup led by former Army Chief of Staff Colonel Ndur Cham. The witness said he was Ndur Cham's driver from 2001 to 2006. Jangha alleged that General Alaji Martin led a team of state guards who arrested him at the defense headquarters and took him to the National Intelligence headquarters. There he alleged he was subjected to a rigorous interrogation session during which he was severely tortured.
Malia, that is Musa Jame, the late Musa Jame. He's the first person to slap me. After slapping me, it seems like, he triggered them. All of them jump on me, start beating me so mercilessly in front of the panel.
Can you recall what they were using to beat you?
They were kicking me with their military boots on my face, my ribs, my back, my head. They hit me with rifle butts. In fact, they cocked their rifles. Maria himself cocked his pistol, put it on my neck here, telling me that failing to comply, they will kill me and nothing will come out from it.
He alleged that following his torture, he was taken to Mile 2 prisons, only to be brought back to the NIA headquarters a few hours later and forced to sign a prepared statement following threats from a panel of investigators. Furthermore, he said he was told he would be freed if he complied with their request to use him as a state witness to testify in court against the alleged coupists. After refusing, he was taken back to Mile 2 prison, subsequently brought before a court-martial and charged with 3 counts, including concealment of treason. He was eventually sentenced to 10 years in prison, an ordeal he described as the worst experience of his life.
I sell my compound to pay a lawyer so that lawyer can be able to defend me because I cannot defend myself, so that I'll be able to go out of that case. Unfortunately, I lost the compound and I was sentenced for 10 years in prison.
After serving 9 years and 4 months in a tiny one-man cell at the State Central Prison, he was pardoned by ex-President Jammeh. His freedom, however, came with conditions, including that he must not engage in any political activity. He was told that failure to respect the conditions would land him another 10 years in prison. Ansumana Eso-Nyasi for QTV News.
And now to a sad news. Mrs. Harriet Ndao, commonly known to many as Mrs. Ndao, veteran educationist and proprietor of Ndao's Comprehensive School, is no more after her death was announced on Tuesday morning. Over the years, Mrs. Ndao has impacted the lives of many Gambians, some of whom now man different portfolios around the world. Babukar C has been monitoring, and this is his report.
Harriet Martha Ndao, or Harriet Margaret Ndao, born Harriet Njai on the 28th of October in 1926, is a legendary Gambian educator and educational entrepreneur Mrs. Ndau received her early education at St. Joseph's Infant Primary and Secondary Schools before landing a colonial scholarship that took her to Achimota College in Gold Coast, present-day Ghana, where she graduated as professional teacher. She later studied at Portsmouth Training College in UK. From 1948, she taught at St. Joseph's Primary in Bathurst. In 1955, she went to the training to Portsmouth Training College in United Kingdom, where she did a course in headship in primary schools, and later Oxford University, where she studied administration.
After going around the country, I've been to all the schools in the Gambia at that time, and I decided something was strange. Everywhere I went to the provinces and talked to young people, asked them to read for me. I love children's reading. They always say, Mrs., I can't read. I can't read. So when I made my report on what I saw in the Gambia and also the teaching of reading in the Gambia, the authorities decided they must send me to Oxford for 1 year to study or to write a book on the teaching of reading.
Bakari Bitey, a graduate from Ndau School in 2009 and now working with QCell, had this to say about Mrs. Ndau.
It is sad to hear that Mrs. Ndau has passed away, who have contributed a lot in the education of this country. And I can say we all sad in the death of Mrs. Ndau. Not only a loss to Ndau family, but a great loss to the nation. So I will extend my condolences to the Ndau's family and whosoever passed through the school, all the teachers and my fellow ex-students and the students presently.
Binta Kanbaji, also a graduate of the school from daycare to high school, who graduated in 2004, took time to pay tribute to the woman often referred to as the mother of Gambian education.
It is sad to hear about her demise because she was a phenomenal woman in this country, and we can also call her the mother of education in the Gambia. So we all feel sad. It has been over the social media, and we have all been paying condolences to her family. So it's a great loss to the nation.
After QTV paid a visit to one of the 7 schools she built as part of her legacy, James F. Mendy, vice principal of the school, described Mrs. Ndau's passing as a great loss not only to the Gambia but the African continent.
It's a great loss to the country, and not only the country, I can say it's a great loss to Africa and the world at large, because if you look at the products of the schools that Mrs. Ndau established, they are all over the world. So this is really a great loss, not only to the family, not only to her schools, but to the country, to Africa and the entire world. Mrs. Harriet Ndau, I believe many people in the Gambia know who she is and will attest to the hard work she has done. It's not easy to establish up to 7 schools, starting from 1 up to 7 schools, meaning from daycare, the lower basic, that is the primary, the junior school up to the senior school.
Mrs. Ndau in 1963 opened the Kampama Primary School as headmistress. In 1966, she was promoted to the Serekunda Primary School, where she worked under her retirement in 1981. She was the leader of the Gambia Girl Guides for many years and was involved in the Women's Corona Society. In the 1980s, she founded several schools, first the St. Joseph Nursery School and then secondary schools, with the support of the government and a loan from the World Bank over $7 million. In 1984, former Gambian President Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara awarded her the Order of the Republic of the Gambia. Yaya Jammeh awarded her the Order of Commander of the Republic of the Gambia. In 1999, she was named Person of the Year by the Gambia News and Report. In 2014, she received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry. By 2009, 8 schools belong to the Ndau's group of schools. May her gentle soul rest in peace. Babukarsi, QTV News.
An environmental science UTG graduate has concluded as yet unpublished research on the environmental and health impact of central dumpsite in the Kanifing municipality. His research shows that most health cases reported to local SOS Mother and Child Clinic are associated with respiratory tract infections, and the research claims such infections are as a result of improper waste management at the Bakote dump site. Mamadou Laimin Choi has the rest of that story.
The dump site between the communities of Manjai, Dipakunda and Bakote is having an environmental impact on the area's residents. The research, sponsored by the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, claims the groundwater within the area of the dump site is highly contaminated with a bacterium found in the intestines of animals and humans. As a result, groundwater from this area is affecting the growth of plants and animals. This does not meet the WHO guideline for pure water, which advises that for water to be pure enough for drinking, it should contain 0% of this type of bacterium. However, the research from the 26-year-old reveals that some wells in the area contain more than 400 of the bacterium. Some residents of the affected area use the water for both drinking and other household uses. Despite these health hazards, Mr. Kinte is surprised that some of the 13 residents interviewed for the research said that they are not bothered by the quality of water they consume.
Some of the water samples that were analyzed, they had a fecal coliform in every 100 milliliter of water. There was a fecal coliform count of 460, which is just too much. And then it was very shocking to know that in some of the households, some people were even using this water to drink, for drinking purpose and other domestic purposes.
In conducting the research on one of the country's biggest dump sites, Kinte was able to request from the SOS and Mother-Child Clinic access to diagnosis on cases associated with health complications suffered by residents said to be caused by the dump site. The report from the clinic covered cases reported from residents of Bakote, Dipakunda and Manjai. Diagnosis of the data shows that the highest number of cases reported by residents, 25.78% of cases from residents are upper respiratory tract infections, and 19.93% are said to have been affected by flu.
That is capable of causing mutation in the human system. You know, it affects the nervous system. Do you understand? So that is why, because when I came on the ground, as I looked at the type of waste that are being disposed of, I realized that there are some medical waste that are also being disposed of on the site. So I decided to also build interest in the type of airborne disease that could come as a result of the type of disposal that is taking place.
Residents say they are struggling to survive in a situation which, according to them, has not improved over the years. Some have stopped using water drawn from the local wells.
I'm happy to talk on this subject because looking at my children, they are always affected. One of my children, who is an asthmatic patient, suffers a lot from the smoke emission and stench from the dump site. She is always indoors. Our environment is difficult to survive in, especially during the rainy season. Everywhere is full of maggots. Even for children to go to school is a problem.
The one-year-long research also indicates that most of the composition of what people dump as waste is sand. While some complain of the smoke emission and stench from the dump site, food and drinks are sold next to the site. Scavengers also spend their day picking disposed scraps from the site.
Most of the Gambians don't care about environmental quality, and most of them also lack the understanding of the potential impacts associated with the disposal of solid waste. Because looking at this environment, which is not even convenient for somebody to stay for about 30 minutes or 25 minutes, you find out that there are people selling here. And who are they selling this food to? It is people that are buying this food. It is not even safe for somebody to eat on this ground, because there are a lot of infections that somebody can have from this place.
Kinte advises the authorities to plant eucalyptus around the dump site to improve on the environment. QTV contacted the National Environment Agency. However, we were unable to get a comment before going on air. For QTV News, I am Umon Lamin Choi.
A two-day training organized by the Gambia Commission for Refugees in collaboration with UNHCR for civil society organizations, immigration officers, media personnel, amongst others, is underway at Kanifing. For more on this, let's join Jenna Basanko.
In international law, a stateless person is someone who is not considered as a national by any state under the operation of its laws. Over 1 million people are stateless in West Africa. The Gambia is among 6 ECOWAS member countries that has developed a national plan of action to eradicate statelessness. The Gambia has signed up to 2 treaties, the 1954 and the 1961 conventions, to regulate and improve the status of stateless persons and prevent statelessness. The head of UNHCR office in the Gambia, Sekou Saho, says the ratification of conventions are not enough to measure progress.
Even though ratification is a good thing, it needs to be followed by an action which is the implementation of what has been ratified. It is for these reasons UNHCR's High Commissioner, his global campaign to eradicate statelessness in the coming 10 years was launched in November 2014. That means that campaign has to run up to 2024, 10 years. The campaign encourages states to develop and adopt their own action plan to end statelessness by 2024. In the Gambia, legal and administrative reforms on the prevention and the reduction of statelessness are required.
The focal person on statelessness at the Gambia Commission for Refugees, Famara Fadera, explains how far they have gone in the implementation of the National Plan of Action to eradicate statelessness.
One of the activities that is there is to make sure that no child is born stateless, and also to at least have a qualitative and a quantitative data as far as statelessness is concerned. There was a survey that was conducted at national level. We call it the National Survey on Statelessness, and this was conducted in 2017. An international consultant was hired, in collaboration with the United Nations High Commission Office, Banjul, and with the support of the Gambia Commission for Refugees. A study was conducted, and then the report is been going back and forth with the regional office, and then it's just to be finalized and validated. Once that is done, the recommendations that may be driven from that document will at least help the Commission to see at least what is required of us. But as a country, definitely we are not left behind.
He adds that the Commission has submitted a position paper to the Constitutional Review Commission to fix gaps in the Gambian nationality laws that can render an individual stateless. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Basonko.
A truck loaded with merchandise goods overturned at Abuko. The vehicle was bound for Guinea-Conakry, and according to reports, no one was injured. Babakar Sise has the rest of that story.
The incident happened on Tuesday morning. The vehicle was loaded with boxes of food items bound for Guinea. According to the driver, Lamarana Jallo, he parked at Abuko to repair a punctured tire, and the incident happened as he was taking off.
Six close oyani pimbi mi gari do mi fokkiti o fuddi jawgol gudron o patini.
It was around 6 a.m. when the truck overturned as I tried to get onto the road. It was loaded with tomatoes, mayonnaise and Gloria. We were 3 in the vehicle, but no one was injured. I urge all drivers to drive carefully to avoid such accidents. Ibrahim Barry, also in the vehicle when the incident happened, said they have plied the Banjul-Conakry route for a decade but never had a problem.
menen no ko ni alla mori ko premier fois men wad ko accident ni we bini wada 10 ans ni be doginde ko premier accident ma on no alla mori ko no wadi no.
We have been driving on this road for 10 years, but this is our first accident. We always park at this location without any problem. We thank God that no one was injured. Although no one died or got injured in this incident and no other vehicle was involved, the desire of the Gambia Police Force to drastically reduce road traffic accidents is still being hampered by circumstances beyond their control, mainly human or mechanical error. Babakar Sise, QTV News.
The Gambia women's national team, the Women Scorpions, were on Sunday held to a 1-1 draw by Guinea-Bissau in an international friendly at Independence Stadium in Bakau. The game is one of 2 friendlies between the sides arranged by their federations to test their teams following the end of the 2018-2019 league seasons. Babakar C reports.
The Queen Scorpions called upon 2 players plying their trade in the Nigerian Women League in Captain Pendaba and Aissatou Jallow to join the rest of the squad in Banjul for the international friendly. The Bissau sides, unlike the previous encounter, look better and formidable, giving the Gambian side hard time to settle. As expected, Adama Tamba, Gambia's all-time leading goal scorer, scored the only goal for her side at the stroke of half-time with a brilliant finish before going to the locker room. Goals were expected to rain in the second half after finding the net once in the first period, but things turned out to be the other way round as the Bissau Guineans looked stronger and energetic. They grabbed the equalizer in the 62nd minute thanks to Captain Tiana Tamba's excellent set piece, leaving new entrants Maria Masise at goal with no chance of denying the ball, putting them comfortable with the clock running out. Bissau nearly added salt to the injured Scorpions after they were awarded a late penalty in the game. Maria Masise became an instant superwoman when she saved her country, pouring away Chaloda Man's penalty. Mariama Sow is the head coach of the Queen Scorpions, and she believes her side could have done better.
Yeah, definitely. I am very much disappointed on the performance of the girls because I was not expecting such, because we prepared them physically, mentally towards this game, but it was a disappointing game because they have series of chances which they refused to capitalize on. And as you can see, Guinea-Bissau was almost about to win the game, but it was with the help of the Almighty God, that's why the game was drawn.
You said you prepared the team physically, mentally, but you're disappointed with the performance. But if you look at the way they played, it's like you've never given them enough.
Yeah, of course, though we camped very lately, but for the girls, 3/4 of them are in the first division, and all those first division are going for the four clubs are going for the semi-finals, and the 4 teams that are going for the semi-finals were dominated by this national team. So some of them were training. So though we prepared very lately, but that does not matter. I don't think the fitness was our problem. It's what we taught them. Hadn't been that they implemented it, people would have seen different. Because how many chances did we have?
Guinea-Bissau, led by Coach Sidiku, said his side was not training for any international encounter as the whole country is bracing up for the male AFCON. Thus, even their Football Federation president is out of the country helping to provide the logistical arrangements for the national male team heading to Egypt. He described the Gambian side as a big team with lots of experience unlike his side, and therefore believed the draw will boost their morals ahead of the Tuesday game.
Porque no tengo presidente de Portugal por problema de CAF, de CAN.
The 2 sides will again meet on Tuesday for a rematch at the same venue at 2000 hours. Babukar C, QTV News.
Before we end this bulletin of the news, let's take a quick look at our main stories. Veteran educationist Mrs. Harriet Ndao, known to many as Mrs. Ndao, dies on Tuesday. Over the years, Mrs. Ndao has impacted the lives of many Gambians, some of whom now man different portfolios around the world. Babu Jangha, driver of former Army Chief of Defense Staff Colonel Durcham, testifies at the TRRC. His testimony related to his arrest, detention and torture in the aftermath of the foiled 2006 coup. And in sports, the Gambia women's national team, the Women's Scorpions, were on Sunday held to a 1-1 draw by Guinea-Bissau in an international friendly played at the Independence Stadium. The Gambia women's national team, the Women's Scorpions, were on Sunday held to a 1-1 draw by Guinea-Bissau in an international friendly at the Independence Stadium in Bakau. The game is one of 2 friendlies between the sides arranged by their federations to test their teams following the end of the 2018-2019 league season. That's all we have for you in this edition of the news. Thank you very much for watching. Join us tomorrow for more news.